got to get some water on hand. Throat's feeling a little iffy tonight. So the gear for today, guys, is let's see if you can figure out the theme of the gear. You probably can't, because the threads of commonality might be a little too difficult unless you're just a super fan of the show and you're just, and maybe I should call the police. We have Paladin Crossroads, a company that discontinued their soap line, I thought, a couple years ago, or just had a big old sellout. But then I jumped online and they're still selling soap. It was just a huge sale. Who knows? Anyway, I got it at a great price, and I'm glad I did. The R41 from Muley. The AP Shave Co. Tuxedo Knot. And Diamond, the aftershave from Barrister and Mann. The cologne that we're going to use today still kind of falls in this category of today's theme. And this is Jean-Paul Gaultier, if I'm pronouncing that and saying all the things correctly, Le Male. Well, the commonality, the theme of today is pick things that you didn't really care for, but now you'd like to give them another shot. And there we go. You might say, if you know me at all, you know that I'm a huge fan of Diamond, right? Barrister and Mann Diamond. Hey, Peter. Tono-sama, welcome. Well, here's the thing. As a soap, I am the biggest fan of Diamond. However, as a aftershave, all those delicious things that I smell, the grass, the caramel, the other parts that I like the most, those are missing from the splash the couple times I've tried it. And the things that I don't like, the like smoke and that kind of stuff, is kind of a bad smoke to me, at least. And so that's why he's in the list here. So we're going to give him another shot. The cologne here, JPG, is, I think it's too vanilla for me. I think it's got too strong of a vanilla scent. It's okay for a little while, but then if it stays around me, I start to get irritated with that much vanilla being around me. Kind of like the deep comforting splash from Nivea, Nivea Deep. And this guy is here because Tuxedo. I have nothing against AP Shave Co. at all, except this handle is very small. Probably too small for me. I might try to trade it for another AP Shave Co. handle that's a little larger. But the quality of the pour and the quality of the work here on the handle looks terrific. I'm just not a Tuxedo fan because it's got so much spraying. And so that's why we're using that brush today. The R41, super aggressive for me. Some people like it a lot. Many people find it quite aggressive. I'm one of them. Don't use it. Tried it once. And we'll also see how it works with the old Nasset blade. We're at 391 uses today. Okay. Tono-sama says he used Diamond just last night. Oh, as a soap, it knocks me out. I love it. I am a huge, huge fan. All right, so we'll get the Nasset out. And now we're in the 390s. 391 is today's shave. And we've got the N and the 1 right there. I hope I hold it in a way that you can see that. And let's go ahead and load it up in the razor. Now, this razor does not flex the blade very much. At one point in its life, I was guessing that the way the Sheraton flexed the blade quite a bit was what helped me to keep going with it. Just a theory. But the blade has definitely changed since then. And so who knows what we're going to get now. Looks like we have a good alignment here. This razor pretty much looks like it's going to get proper alignment every time. I mean, some people just love this razor. I guess those guys that just have tough skin, they want maybe a 2-pass shave or something like that. Tonosama mentions about vanilla, and yeah, got burned out on it a while back. Yep. Okay, the Crossroads is here. The notes are tobacco leaf and sandalwood. If you know me very well, you know that I'm a huge tobacco fan in terms of the scent. I am a huge sandalwood fan. So why would this be here? Because of the third ingredient, menthol. This is a mentholated soap. So that's why he is here. I do not care for mentholated soaps. Now, this is one of those crazy good containers. This tub is heavy glass, and it's colored, and it's a high quality item here. They were obviously swinging for the fences when they decided to put out a line of soaps over there at Paladin. I can still smell the menthol, the sandalwood and stuff, not too strong, but the menthol usually overcomes the other notes when I've got it on my face. So let's just see what happens today. Now, the daily challenge for today. Let me go ahead and wet my face. The daily challenge is to switch up your lather method. If you prefer face lathering, then bowl lather today. If you prefer bowl, lather by the face. So that's me today. I'm going to face lather. I wish that maybe I wouldn't have chosen this brush to face lather today. But let's just roll with it. The good thing about the Tuxedo synthetics, you don't have to soak. Let's get them wet. It's fully dry at this point. Just to wet it all the way through. And let's just, why don't we load by look this time? A lot of water has kind of come out of the brush and is being bubbly on the top of the soap. And it's starting to overflow now on occasion. Synthetics usually do a very good job of picking up soap from the puck. Now we've got a lot of water going on. Sometimes it's hard to pick up soap if you got too much water in the mix here. So let's just go with it and see what happens. I'm going to take some of this overflow. Oh yeah, the menthol is already coming up to my eyes. It's not a real bother, but it's just, I can feel it in my eyes. All right, let's just see how things go. You don't want too much soap. It was a couple of years ago that I bought several of the Paladin soaps. They were sold for like $12.50, and even if you just wanted to buy the glass jar for $12.50, it was a pretty good deal. And I bought all the ones that I thought remotely might be a soap I might like, a scent I might like. Very happy with the performance. I don't think that when I looked them up on the web, I don't think I was looking at some kind of old archive page that is not, part of their thing. Now, as far as face lathering goes, I am no authority, but I do know a few things. one thing is that there are some people who like to take a big old brush, and they need a big one because they need to make sure their lather lasts until that third pass. And they load it, they overload it. They might use 1.5, 2, maybe even 3 grams of soap, while me and my bowl, we are using 0.5 gram of soap. And they have to do that because they can have that concentrate on the first one, but then they're hoping they keep a good lather in their brush still to preserve, to let them have enough lather for that last pass. If I would think it would be quite frustrating to pour out the excess water from the soap tub. I think that's going to kind of hurt me in the long run if I just let that get too wet. So I'm just going to do the old Michael Friedberg method here and dribble a little bit of water on the brush as we go here. And so I've kind of spread out and created whatever I had in the brush, worked it on my face for a while, and the menthol is definitely there. And unfortunately, it really does get totally in the way of me being able to enjoy these 2 main scent notes that I like so much. So obviously, if you're going to want to use this soap, you're going to need to love menthol. And I guess I could say how you might want to use it to wake up in the morning, that kind of thing. So a lot of face work, and I've decided that with this being a face lather day, I'm just going to have to settle for a lather that's not as wet as I want it to be. It's really frustrating to try to make that happen. Now, I mentioned some guys really overload, and they have a lot of concentrate on their brush. They do keep adding water, but they go for a drier lather than I do, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that's one thing that some face lathers do. Now, there are some who kind of go the other way, and they don't overload. They look at their brush, and they say, okay, how much soap can this brush handle within its fibers? And then they try to start with some water and add enough water to basically get a brush load of soap, to create a brush load of lather. They're not trying to overload. Now, if I was to switch to face lather, and I'm guessing that might be the kind of person I would be switching to. And this brush isn't too bad as long as I don't splay too much and keep it kind of toward the tips, or keep it to this painting motion here. But this handle is so small, and even after I rinse it off, it's getting so slippery. It's really a chore to hang on to. Now my lather is starting to improve as I'm adding more water. You can see it gathering up around my face. My goatee. Instead of dribbling, I think I'm going to try to accelerate my water addition here. With the very mention of that, I had a big old blob jump right off, right? Mike, welcome. Mike has used the Muley R41. Zachary, hey man. Zachary's liking his new lather bowl. Okay. Zachary, I tried something the same size of a of that regular size Captain's Choice bowl. It was a knockoff from China, and I'm glad I tried it. If I liked it, I would have probably purchased the real Captain's Choice bowl, but it was so small. I was constantly fighting having the lather overflow. It was such a chore. It just didn't match my style at all. Aloha Wyatt. Hey there, welcome. Welcome. So the lather is getting better here. The menthol is kind of getting more intense. It's not backing off. And always remember, if you've got a bunch of lather in your hand, you can, try to rework it back up into the brush, that sort of thing. And you can feel. Now, one thing I could see using that Captain's Choice bowl or something that size, the regular size, is to store the excess lather. Like right now, I could scoop this into a bowl and it would be there for my third pass, right? So I could definitely see using it for that purpose. Let's get that water back going. Add more water here. And since this is cool water, it is combining with the menthol in the soap, and it's really amplifying the cooling effect. So this is definitely a soap where face lathering would keep giving you electric jolts of coolness. Sterling has the margaritas in the Arctic, and it has a bunch of glacial options to add menthol to soaps for you guys who might like that. At this point, this tiny little handle is swallowed up in lather, and I think the lather's looking okay. I've definitely worked it into my skin long enough, so maybe it won't be too bad. Maybe it won't be too dry. But the brush isn't even staying on the sink. It's so slippery. That's a short handle for you. So we're trying out the Tuxedo today for you late comers. Yeah, Zachary, agree. Definitely a good loading bowl. And if you want a face lather and you want to kind of mix up a little early lather in a smaller bowl, I think that Captain's Choice bowl would fit me for that. Also, if you have a high backbone brush, especially a smaller one, then you're not going to splay as much, and so the smaller bowl might work for that. Or a very tiny bore brush that you like to use, then smaller bowls can work with that too. All right, well, I am definitely feeling the menthol effect. And yeah, and the whole problem is I just barely smell the leather and the tobacco that's a part of this soap. All right, well, here we go. Muley R41 with the Nasset 391st use. Mango, welcome back. Joined us several days ago. At least joined us and let me know you were there several days ago. We've got kind of some gear. The theme today is revisiting gear that you didn't like in the past. Giving it a second chance. This is very aggressive, lots of blade feel, a good bit of tugging. I've got other razors that definitely behave better for me. I'm going to try to ride the cap in hopes of... this is a razor that's so aggressive, it makes me think about not finishing the shave with it. Or just doing one pass and putting up with a crappy shave. That's how aggressive it is. And it felt that way with a young blade too. Now, so many times before, if I had a really aggressive shave, if you persevere, sometimes the second and third pass can be a lot easier because you took off so much stubble on the first pass. So we'll give it a try. But generally, this is not a razor that I like using. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not a blade out there that somehow is so smooth to make this, razor work for me, but I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't. Good rinse. Oh yeah, I've got tons of stubble because this razor is just so, I don't want to do any buffing with it because it's so aggressive. All right. If menthol has any healing powers, any skin benefit, I think we need to invoke it right now to help my skin out. Maybe an aftershave splash that had alcohol was not a very good idea. See, this thing is so sudsy that it slides off down the sink into the sink. And I think that's just a fault of face lathering rather than the brush itself, All right. Okay. Aloha. Wyatt has a new to him scuttle, and he likes his warm lather. Yeah. Gotcha. I haven't really played around too much with warm lather. Cool lather is often very, and the cool rinses are often very refreshing and can reduce inflammation and really do help to soothe a shave like this. But mostly, I don't really want to wait on the hot to come to my bathroom. And also, since I'm a bowl latherer, the lather just kind of turns lukewarm anyway. Still feeling a good bit of blade feel. Lots of blade feel. I'm not interested. I don't think I'm interested in doing any more passes with this razor. We'll just have to see how my face feels here on the rinse. Well, we have to be fair. This is a 391 use Nasset blade. This is a blade that is smoothed out from use. The edge geometry has been affected because I've only shaved on it on one side of the blade. I've never flipped it over except just for once by mistake. And so therefore, it's possible that if I were to shave again with this razor, I would have just as an uncomfortable shave. However, after that second pass, I might be sitting here looking at a much closer shave, perhaps one I would be very happy with and happy to walk away from, But I'm not interested in, I am reducing the stubble some, but I'm not seeing it reduce quick enough to make me think that one more pass is going to get it done. So why, if I'm not interested in doing 2 more passes or 3 more passes, then I'm just going to quit now and avoid the irritation that I'm sure I'm going to give myself. All right. So to recap with you guys, I was revisiting stuff that I hadn't liked in the past. And on the brush side, that was a Tuxedo knot. I have nothing against the AP Shave Co. handle at all. Just the fact that it's short, but that's just a thing against short handles and definitely not anything specifically against AP Shave Co. I was trying the soap because it had menthol in it. I still haven't really smelled too much of the tobacco and the sandalwood. I used the razor because obviously it's something that it was too rough for me before. And so now let's try the Diamond Aftershave from Barrister & Mann. Again, I am nuts over this as a soap, but my favorite parts when it's a splash just don't come out. The parts that I don't like are what I actually smell when it's in splash form. So let's try it again. We've got a very rough shave. I mean, it'll hold me off a little bit and keep it from being quite so rough tomorrow. You know, it's not as bad as I recall. So maybe I won't sell this. We'll just see how it transfers over time. I am smelling some of the grassier notes. There are some of the higher smoky notes that are more dominant here than they are in the soap. Oh, I got that caramel. Caramel is sweeter in the soap than with the aftershave. Anybody got any questions? So far, this is the only guy here in this arrangement today that has a chance of redeeming himself with this second chance shave. Paladin Shaving is also one of our sponsors of the Lather games, and I still do want to get a hold of a Paladin brush. They have it's really cool how they have different knot codes, and so when you know a knot code, if you're going to buy a used brush, then you can look it up and know how that hair is feeling to most people. And it's a wonderful resource, but it also means I can't really pull the trigger quickly on a Paladin brush. I have to, look at the cut. If they do provide the knot code, then you have to go to Paladin's website, read about it, and their site often will forward you around. Like you'll look up 2CL315, and it'll say, well, this behaves just like 2CL289BL, and then you'll do a find on the page for that and try to find it, and then so it's a little bit of a hassle sometimes to find the right description for the knot. However, I have tried a PK47 handle. I think that's the model of the brush. I was very happy with the brush itself, with the knot. Comfortable tips, easy splay. I was very happy with it. It's just that the handle was a little too short and I kept getting messy fingers. I like the ergonomics of the handle. I just wish that there was a little more distance between me and the soap. But in retrospect, maybe if I would have kept that handle around, I might be liking it now. Hard to say. It was a long time ago. But I still someday want to pick up a Paladin that's not one of the high backbone types, that's nice and comfy and soft. So I'll keep my eye out for that. Let's go ahead and clean up. Talega, welcome. Okay, Zachary's using the Glacial Sterling Strawberry Lemonade. That's one of their newest ones, I believe. He thought the Glacial would be way more bracing than it actually was. Okay, well, that's good to know. I definitely don't need to order anything Glacial, but that's good if some people are on the fence. Also, remember, often Sterling can provide a sample that's several dollars cheaper than the full tub, and so you can have a month of shaves from that sample usually if you're on the fence about trying something. But it sounds like if you're on the fence about trying that Glacial strawberry lemonade, Zachary says it's not too bad not too strong with the cooling effect. Talega, yeah, agree. There are definitely the ones that I don't like to use right before I go to sleep aren't real. I like the thick ones, like a Barrister and Man, the Fall of Man, not the Fall of Man, Mankind, something, that recent tobacco one they did. It's very thick, and I don't mind those at all when I'm going to bed. What I do mind are the peppy ones, the zesty ones, the ones with high florals, with high greenery and green Irish tweed type, green punchy citrus notes, that sort of thing. Those are ones that I don't like shaving with at night. Each to his own, of course. Seth, welcome. And yeah, I'm afraid you did join in a little bit late. You can blame it on the razor. I did 2 passes with the R41, and I'm not interested in doing anymore. My skin is not that tough to be able to hold on to that. No, I've never tried, Wyatt, adding scent to my lather. There are definitely some where I think I would benefit from doing that. Maybe if I had a sandalwood oil or something, or some woody notes. I think I've definitely tried some soaps that I think would benefit from some of, if I picked my favorite notes out, um, I think I could definitely redeem some soaps with that. Sometimes I learn how a soap might smell with a certain fragrance added to it by bringing that in as a balm or a post-shave product afterwards. Like one time I shaved with a lavender something, and I followed it up with an agar wood balm from probably Sterling. And holy cow, that was good. It was such a good match. Lather and oud. Oh my goodness. If I, but I don't shave with unscented soaps, and so I don't need to put scent in there. But the only reason I would bring in a scent during the lather would be to tweak the scents accord. I don't really even know where I would pick up any of those types of oils, right? I guess because there are some scented oils you can use for candles, but you wouldn't want to use for your face, cosmetics, that kind of thing. So I don't really know where I would start with buying something like that. So Zachary was smart, and he did buy the sample for the Sterling. Okay, gotcha. Now, one that has menthol that I don't mind at all is the Perazzo Green. It's a lower level of menthol. It doesn't feel like a burning sensation to me. I can still smell other pieces to the scent. And so I may complain about Perazzo being not as great of a value if you buy it at U.S. prices. I think over in Europe it's a lot cheaper, and I think it's just right for the cost. But that green was nice in terms of the menthol. I enjoyed it scent-wise and stuff. Oh, okay. Now see, Talega, I have one Abate La Mantilla, and it's the Batero, I think, and it's a leather, saddle leather kind of scent. Oh, it's terrific. It's amazing. You got the one that smells like bananas. All right, let me rinse off my tub of soap, and it's slippery. I've got to be careful. Every year, I think I've got to get rid of this because I just don't shave with it because of the strong smell of the menthol. Who knows? But then since I thought it was discontinued, I think that's one of the reasons I kept it around. Also, who knows? If my shaving habits, if my shaving preferences change, and all of a sudden I like menthol, then maybe this guy is my best friend. Okay, Sterling eucalyptus and mint. It's a nice cooling soap. Okay. Oh, see, peppermint. I do not. I've tried a couple of peppermint soaps, and that is not my thing. Just the scent of it just doesn't work with my nose. Anything with there's just a few notes. And eucalyptus. That's the thing. I don't like peppermint, and I don't like eucalyptus. So it's like the double whammy of things I don't like. Might as well add a bunch of high florals in there. But I bet they created that scent, the eucalyptus and mint, because of maybe the Perazzo Green and some of those other type soaps, just to give people an alternative. Because I mean, it's definitely something people like. It is reasonably popular. Okay, okay. Talega makes a good point. With an aggressive razor that has a lot of exposure, you are more free to try longer strokes because you're more likely to be able to hold it in that proper angle a little bit easier. With a milder razor, your angle of effectiveness reduces. With a more aggressive razor, it's more generous. Of course, it means you have the potential to kind of scrape your skin up, but with skill and with tough skin and with good lather, you might be cool with it, right? So he likes his third use feather with his R41 and sticking to the 2-pass shave because he's got a lot of probably a lot of efficiency there, a lot of good cutting. So that's his jam. All right. Okay. Mongo mentions Moon Soaps Union. And one of you guys, it may have, I think it was either Refined Edge, maybe, sent me a couple of samples of the Moon soaps, and I was happy with the performance of those. I could definitely see, them being good. Oh, and now, so I'm still actually feeling the menthol and stuff around me. Does this Barrister and Man? Does this guy have menthol? Long list of ingredients. It's got alcohol, and so maybe, I don't think it has menthol. It does have some witch hazel. And it does look like it's got a good many seaweed extract and things like that, thistle fruit extract, basil leaf extract, things like that. So it definitely looks like he's put some skin goodies in there, but it doesn't look like it has menthol. So that must mean that the menthol cooling feel that I have is from the still resident from the soap. How about that? All right, let's do the Jean Paul Gaultier La Maille, which likely in history has provided me with a little bit too much vanilla. So let's see what I get this time. And isn't this one with the, if you buy the full bottle, it's like a guy's torso and it's kind of blue or something? All right, we'll see how that goes. Oh, wait, let me tilt. I don't know if I got good sprays. If I tilt the thing in the right way according to the, there we go. Okay. Hopefully that'll be good. And these little samplers, you can reuse them, guys. And somebody sends you a decant in these things, create yourself a travel, spray bid, or make your own decant or something like that. Okay. Talega did not like the eucalyptus and mint. The Diamond Splash, I tell you what, it was on sale at Maggard Razors for quite a while. You know what? I think I might keep the Diamond Splash. Use it a little bit more because I think it's calming down with those notes that I didn't like very much. I think I might try that guy again. Okay, he has been resurrected into the active pile from all of these pieces here. Yeah, I think while it wasn't as sweet, the splash here wasn't as sweet as the soap is. A little bit more harsh. The stronger scents were there. Not as mellow, but I think enough of what I like was in there, and so I think I'll give it another shot. I bet the Diamond Balm would be pretty good. Wyatt, I definitely had to move up in aggression to when I was maybe in the 50s, all the way up to 100, 150, 200 uses on this Nasset. I definitely moved up in aggression and played around with more aggressive settings. I could no longer use a lot of the mild razors with this high use blade. But yeah, I definitely had a few razors that are generally too aggressive for me to use with a younger blade. But when I put a 50 use blade in it or a 30 use blade, all of a sudden it became much more manageable and enjoyable. And so, yeah, you can definitely put a more mature, smoothed out blade in an aggressive razor and have it very dramatically affect the shave. But it's all your preference. So I'm not going to say it's better or worse. It depends on your skin, depends on your shaving technique, your lather, as to whether you want to put a nice, fresh, crisp blade in an aggressive razor. You may want to start that blade out in a more medium razor and then, put it in an aggressive razor and try it, that sort of thing. You could just start out with trying it and see how well it treats you. and then go on from there. And just, it's a subjective thing. So however it makes you feel. Now, if you're just starting out and you don't have tons of experience, your technique is probably going to be the weak point in that equation. So just my advice is to use something that's more comfortable, and until you get your technique right. The first 5 months that I was shaving with this kind of way, I cut myself 2 to 3 times every time I used a feather. Did not really enjoy using a feather. It was just too iffy for me. And it wasn't the blade, it was me. Because 6, 8 months down the road, I retried feathers. I did much better with them. Now I can shave them anytime I want. It was technique. It wasn't the tool, it was the technique. And so definitely you can just play around, find something comfy that works for you now, get a lot of uses under your belt, and then you can experiment with things that didn't work for you in the past, like different blades. That sort of thing is my personal advice. All right. This LaMail, that's not too bad. I don't know if the diamond is affecting the way I'm smelling the LaMail. That's not really bad. Nothing super distinctive, really. Maybe at the end of my little sample here, I'm not quite getting an accurate jolt, but that's not too bad. Oh, with the diamond, I'm smelling some pieces in there that are really nice. So the diamond was the splash that I put on here, and the LaMail was on my wrists. All right, let's clean up. You guys can post some last-minute questions before we sign off, and I've got about an hour and 15 minutes to compose my post of the day for the Lather games. Again, this has been stuff you're trying that didn't work for you in the past, and you're giving it a second chance. The daily challenge for today, the surprise challenge, was to switch up your lathering method, and so that's why I face lathered today. I probably would have had a better experience with a better brush, with maybe a boar or a badger brush. But you could feel it start to build up, and all of a sudden it would turn from cakey to start seeing a little bit of the glistening lather and stuff. But it required tons of work on my face because I like my lathers really wet. I still never got the lather to where I wanted it, but this time I think I got it fairly close. But as you can see, it was starting to fly off, that sort of thing. So it actually went a little better than I expected. Let's say that much. And I can see why people, might do that, especially if you got a brush that you really enjoy using. In a way, this was a bad face lathering experience because I was using a brush knot that I don't enjoy using at all. And so that was, in a way, an unfair testimony against face lathering. Okay, Seth is about to get his first custom brush. Can't decide between a knot with less gel and slightly more backbone and a super jelly knot with slightly less backbone. That's a good question. Now, I personally would almost rather have it be backwards. I'd almost like if I was going to have a super jelly knot, then I might want a little bit more backbone. If I had less gel, then I might want less backbone. But because let's see. Well, now, Seth, you're the one, right, that got the High Mountain White from Sterling. And that's got easy splay, lower than medium backbone, but soft tips. Have you used very many gel knots? Do you know what to expect there? Because some gel knots that are super jelly just kind of feel like a wet mop on my face. But I have a couple that are a little bit jelly. And then what translates is softness. And so for me, Okay, roger that. You have not tried too much gel. I would, if it were me, my thoughts might lean more toward the less gel and maybe more backbone in that case. But it depends on how much backbone. That's the thing. Yeah. Because the backbone is something that you can, that will change a little over time. It'll open up a little bit with uses, and so the backbone will release just a little bit over time with a badger. I guess it just depends where you think the backbone is right now. If you think it's too much backbone for you, then I might go with the super jelly knot with less backbone, because one thing is you can put O-rings at the base of your badger knot, or any knot really, to reduce the loft and thus increase the backbone. And so if that super jelly one, you can firm up the backbone a little bit. And so I think that maybe thinking about with the super jelly one, I would focus on the gel. Is that going to be too moppy, too much gel for you? With me personally, with the higher backbone knot and the less gel, I would think about the backbone. I'd focus there. Is that going to be too much backbone for me? And those are the things that I would consider. If you think that higher backbone one might be just the right amount of backbone for you, then I'd go for that one. That would be me. Gotcha. Okay. Well, since you said it's a medium backbone and easy splay with the less jelly one, then that's what I would go for. And I think that'd be a good baseline. Use that for a while, and you think to yourself, do I want even more of a gel feel than this? And then you can make your call from there. Yeah, okay. If it's a medium backbone, then my personal thing would be to go with that one with the slightly less gel. And I find it has more of a natural feel. I do have one very jelly brush that it was too jelly, and it just felt like a wet blah on my face. You're welcome, man. I hope I'm leading you in a good direction. Tell you what, Diamond is one of those soaps that I can be in the bathroom with, and I'll move around and feel it in a certain place and get a waft of some of that caramel or the salty or the grassy, the soil. And it's a delight. It's one of the special ones for me. All right. I was surprised. This handle from Muley, with its very fine knurling, it's not grabby at all. It's very pretty. Looks really nice. I was thinking it might be a little too slippery, but nope. It's one of those that once it gets wet, it's kind of sticky, like that chrome polished Mercure tour I used recently. So in terms of grabbability, in terms of holding on to the razor, excellent handle. Nice balance with the razor. Of course, maybe it's got crappy balance, and I wouldn't know because I was feeling that I was being shredded on my face. Kind of you, Seth. Thank you. As always, Muley is they do have a full stainless steel razor out there, but their general offerings are Zamac coated razors. And make sure you dry out this bolt here. Make sure you dry that out after each shave. Even if you don't take the blade out, that's different, but dry out that bolt, because that is where things break. Because once the chrome plating starts to wear off of that bolt, then once water stays resident on the Zamac, it corrodes fairly quickly. But if you keep it clean, it can last for a dozen years or more. I don't care for the fact that Muley really overprices their razors, but it can last for a long time. And they're really overpriced when you compare other alternatives. If you compare using a Muley razor for 15 years, which is possible if you keep it well maintained, then that cost is fine, right? But it's just that there are others that are a little bit more cost effective. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And I think we'll shut her on down now. And I've got a little time to do my SOTD post. We'll see you next time, I hope. Tomorrow might be a little crazy with my schedule. I hope to be able to jump in on the live shave. But grace if I can't, right? Take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I sure hope that there's been something in this shave to help you guys out. It's been great hanging out with you. Take care now. Thanks, man. Seth, you too.